makosa kiki ekisinga
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sewagude Close, Lukulinanganda, Machindye, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kiza Besije every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Bonjour, je suis Eden Montequila, présentateur d'Horizon des Résiliences, Portraits et Perspectives. Ensemble, découvrons les histoires inspirantes des Africains qui affrontent guerre, crise économique et changement climatique avec courage et détermination. Rencontrez les stars, le politicien, les partenaires extérieurs qui militent pour soutenir les continents. Suivez-nous en ligne pour un voyage inspirant au cœur de la résilience africaine. Chaque mardi à 12h heure de Kinshasa sur des alternatives Digitalk TV.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Three minutes past the top of the hour of 8. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of the Mighty Drive Show. My name is Edgar Matthew Karohanga. It's the 25th day of June, 2024. We're coming to the end of this particular month. And of course, I told you, we are now past the half-hour mark of this particular year. That means we're entering the last half of the year. That checks or calls for you to just look at some of the goals that you set for yourself. And of course, if there are some KPIs, key performance indicators that signify maybe if you're achieving the goal you set out to achieve, or you're not achieving it as you planned out to be. So when you find out the particular challenges that you're facing, and you can solve them, say maybe this is a challenge that is hindering me from getting to this particular goal that I set when I was starting the year. My name is Edgar Matthew Karohanga. This is Digitalk TV. We are Uganda's biggest online media platform, and for us we believe that we are amplifying the voices of those people that are unheard in communities. We have people who do not have the opportunity to be listened to and yet they have a lot of plight that is affecting them and their families. So as Digitalk TV, we set out to give such voices a platform so that you can listen from them, and of course just try to give you clarity and factual news so that you can make an informed decision which will make Uganda a better place. As I told you, we are celebrating right here at the end of this particular month. It's salary week for those who get a bit of salary at the end of the month, so that means you should be excited at a time such as this one. The country is still looking bleak, as it has sometimes always looked like, or oftentimes looked like. We have a lot of challenges that are still happening in the country. There is a challenge of corruption. We have more people that have been set or charged behind, and right now behind bars. They have been remanded. I have a case in point of the former executive director, that is Barugaha Baterana, that is the former director of Mulago Hospital. Yesterday he was arraigned in court, and of course he is charged of misappropriating around 6.3 billion shillings, and of course this comes in double dating and things like that. So he was charged in the anti-corruption court, and yesterday he was remanded back to Luzira, and he will be coming back to be settling some of his scores. And of course there is a principal cooperative officer in the Ministry of Trade. I'm starting even the news bulletin today. This particular principal cooperative officer, his name is Kavundira. Was also charged yesterday in the anti-corruption court. This gentleman was charged for misappropriating as well over 3.4 billion shillings that was supposed to be invested in Ugandans. So this comes at a time when President Museveni also reiterated yesterday that this fight against corruption is not just a fight like any other. He's actually intentional and serious about fighting corruption. He pointed out a lot of issues and said that many Ugandans actually think that he is joking and NRM is not serious in fighting corruption, and he says this is not the fact. What President Museveni feels is that he cannot just attack someone without having evidence or proof. And this is something that, by the way, we've known of Mr. Museveni. Mr. Museveni is one person, since his days, when you read about his days in the bush, and of course his days in what they call the struggle or the liberation war, he is someone who actually was very, very pertinent about having evidence before charging each and every individual. So Mr. Museveni says NRM and he himself, they are serious against fighting corruption, and he believes that as long as he has evidence and proof, he is going to make sure everybody that is behind these corruption scandals is booked and of course incarcerated at the end of the day. Now this comes at a time when the Speaker of Parliament was in Elwengo district at the launch of a foundation of one of the legislators there. And she mentioned that President has had the cries, and I'm trying to quote what the lady said, that President Museveni has had your cries as Ugandans, and of course he is going to be thinking about your jailed member of parliament, Sisi Namuju. Now, many Ugandans are saying, was the speaker accurate in saying these things? Was she sent by Mr. Museveni himself? Was she given the 50 million by President Museveni? Was she told by President Museveni that he has had their cries, and yet he is the person who is behind the incarceration of these members of parliament? So who is lying to who? Who is speaking truth? Who is lying to Ugandans? So that is something that many Ugandans are asking themselves, because if you say you're serious about corruption, but a few days ago we had one of the people you will run government with, the Speaker of Parliament, coming out to actually allege that you have had the cries of the people of Elwengo, whose member of parliament has been incarcerated. Really, where is the seriousness when it comes to fighting corruption? But President Museveni still says that he is serious about corruption. Now the rhetoric is, will he come out to actually address the statements that were made by the Speaker of Parliament, or he's going to keep quiet and take his sweet little time? Still about corruption and still about Parliament, the leader of opposition and the member of Parliament for Nakawa West constituency, that is Joel Ssenyonyi, came out to actually also condemn the words of the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among. These words, as you have seen in that particular video, were reiterated at one rally or the launch of a foundation for one of the legislators in that particular area. Now, leader of Ssenyonyi says he is mesmerized by the statements of the Speaker and other legislators, and he cautions, or he notes out the unseriousness of the Speaker and of course some of these particular things that he's saying. You cannot continue to fight corruption but then come off and defend it and condone it. So also the leader of opposition, Joel Ssenyonyi, is not in agreement with this particular lady or Speaker of Uganda's Parliament. Just 11 minutes past the top of the hour. This is the Mighty Drive Show. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga, and of course I hope you are enjoying this particular video. Please share it as wide as you can. Share in those particular WhatsApp groups, those Facebook groups. Please do share this particular feed and let someone know that the Mighty Drive is here. I told you that today we are expecting a gentleman called Ojik Peter. Ojik Peter is a gentleman living with albinism. Albinism is a condition where an individual lacks a bit of melanin, which brings about paleness in the face, and a condition that actually affects the skin. Now, in that particular regard, Ojik Peter is going to be having a conversation with us of what does this actually mean to live with albinism. So he's going to be coming up after I finish this particular newscast or news bulletin. But before I do welcome Mr. Ojik Peter, allow me just also give you some of the insights on news that we have from other, particular bodies. Yesterday, the Lord Mayor of Kampala, that is Omulodi Elias Lukwago, actually had a meeting with the National Environment and Management Authority, NEMA. This comes at a time when NEMA has been, demolishing and breaking people's houses, people who are thought to have constructed buildings in the wetland. Most of the affected residents are the people of Lubigi, that is along Wakiso Nansana Road, and many, I think over 215 households have been demolished as we speak today. The planned demolition is going to take a total of 315 houses. That means we still have 100 or more houses that are going to be under this particular condition. So Elias Lukwago met NEMA to look at the quality, the equity, and of course the procedure of demolishing this particular, these particular houses. And of course security was tight along NEMA, that is NEMA offices along Kampala Road, and the Omulodi Kampala was able to just go there and try to speak sense into some of the people of NEMA. The question is, will they hear? And I think they're not going to listen anytime soon, because President Museveni actually came out to defend the actions of NEMA. And of course, it is actually something that we could use a bit of realness to say it is not okay for someone to build in a wetland. Whether legally, illegal, without a permit, with a permit, it's still wrong, the act of building in a wetland, because these wetlands help in filtering the water that goes into the mainstream water bodies. It is just some of the things that we have learned to understand, that when you preserve that, you're preserving nature. You're helping in filtering the things that go into the water bodies. That means you're trying, wetlands do as much to reduce pollution of the environment by doing this filtering. They filter plastics, dead animals, things like that, rubbish, and things like that may affect your health as an individual and someone who's consuming this particular water. So whereas you are right to say that you were given permits to construct in these particular areas, but even if you were given permits, it's not reason enough to justify the action of building in a particular wetlands. The question would be, why isn't there a lot of equity when it comes to the implementation of the demolition of these houses? Why is it that there are some people that have built in these particular wetlands, but nothing has been done to them? Their buildings have not been demolished, especially some of those that we call the privileged. A case in point is one petrol station. I won't mention the name, but it is along that particular road. But when you look at the offices there and the petrol station there, many Ugandans are saying, why is it that they're not demolishing this, but they're demolishing the young Ugandans? And then that has brought about a sentiment, which is many people are saying we should deny using that particular petrol station because it has encroached on the wetland. But let's wait and see how that will be manifesting or unfolding as we continue with this particular week. Then maybe lastly, definitely not least, that is Theodore Sechikubo and his colleagues who are trying to censure the commissioners of parliament who, who they say misappropriated Uganda's money by allocating themselves what they called service rewards of 400 million and 500 million respectively to the various commissioners and of course to the leader of opposition. This came to a total of 1.7 billion. So Theodore Sechikubo is coming out to say this was wrong, and of course we are going to be censuring the commissioners who are involved in this particular action. Now, what he has said is that they've tried to get all the hands that they could at the parliament. Now, the next phase is going to be going to the constituencies, the different constituencies, to the different members of parliament, to have them assent, their signature on this particular censure motion. He says he's going to need security and of course a bit of cars and fuel that will help in aiding this particular activity of traversing the various constituencies and trying to pick the signatures of various legislators. Now, after, or if this person can get at least 2/3 of the entire August House, that means he will be in condition to just set the motion straight on Parliament, and there will be censure of these particular legislators. The question of corruption continues to linger. Is Theodore Sechikubo actually on the right track? Is he the one driving this particular agenda, or it's President Museveni trying to, there are some people having a school of thought that President Museveni is behind the censuring of legislators, but of course we do not know, and we do not want to caution or say things that we do not have evidence about. Maybe lastly, Buganda Kingdom yesterday tabled the financial budget for the financial 2024-2025. But before the budget reading itself, there was, of course, an analysis of the past financial budget for Buganda. This was in the Luchiko Parliament of sort for Buganda Kingdom, of course, and it was led by the one and only Katikiro Wechtiwa, Charles Peter Maiga, the Katikiro of Buganda. He was able to be there and, of course, give a few remarks on what is happening in the kingdom, and of course some of the malicious individuals that are there who are trying to propagate and divide the kingdom, according to the Katikiro of Buganda. He says there are some people trying to sow seeds of division in Buganda, and he says this is not something that we shall accept as the Baganda, according to this gentleman. He also reiterated that the Kabaka of Buganda, he is okay. He is in Namibia, he's getting treatment, and he is fine. So please disregard words of various people about Kabaka. And he also brought out a sentiment that to some extent is accurate and true. He says that when the Kabaka is in Buganda here and he's not feeling well, you people come out to say, why isn't the Kabaka getting treatment? When the Kabaka is taken out for treatment, you're saying, why is the Kabaka being hidden? When you explain that he is okay, he's in this particular country, you say, we want to see him to confirm. And then he's trying to say, really, what are you looking for? Are you looking out for the welfare of the Kabaka, or you're trying to use a Kabaka as your tool in some of your malicious intents? And so he says, please avoid using the Kabaka for your own selfish interests, and says, let us put this gentleman's health out of just these things of politicking and playing around and leveraging and getting, attraction because you want to talk about the Kabaka. So in that particular regard, he informed Buganda, Kabaka is okay, and of course stay rested and please be comfortable because everything is okay. Then lastly, of course, 6 guards were remanded. These guards were charged with attempting, in fact there are 7 counts of different crimes, but the one that stood out is attempting to murder the State Minister for Mineral, that is Fiona Nyamutoro. This lady, last week, this gentleman attempted to shoot at the minister for trying to access the premises that they were protecting as guards. So after that, they were aligned in court yesterday, and of course they have been remanded. They have not yet been convicted, but the case has started to be heard. And of course these people, I told you, they are facing a couple of charges, starting from trying to murder the State Minister for Minerals, that is Fiona Nyamutoro. She's a newly appointed minister, and also some people say she is a personal person to one of the biggest artists in this country, Edirisa Musuza, the one you know as Eddie Kenzo. So many people were trying to bring a bit of wit and banter to it. But nonetheless, if these people try to attempt to murder a person, of course they should be arraigned in court, and of course the case would be heard, or should be heard, and then we should be able to make an informed decision at the end of the day. The Euros continue. Please go and watch them. That is a competition that happens on the European continent. A lot of stars are shining. France is shining. I saw England yesterday actually qualifying for the round of 16. I think they join now Portugal, that is already there. They join Germany, that is already there. Croatia actually lost, unfortunately. In fact, they didn't lose, they drew, but they lost technically because they did not, go into the next stage of the round of 16. And this is very sad because Italy equalized Croatia in the last minute. And that brings me to the concentration of the game. Not many people can concentrate on the game up to the last minute. Croatia had a 1-0 lead for a lot of time, and they maintained this lead for as much as they could. But there was that lapse in concentration in the last minute, which you could see, because they had done their part, but I think they felt that the game was done. In the last seconds of the game, Italy was able to equalize, and now Italy has moved into the round of 16, leaving Croatia and Luka Modric's dreams of winning the Euro still oblique. That means, I don't know if that gentleman is going to come back, because he's 38 years, Luka Modric now. By the time the next Euros will be there, he'll be 42. Will he have the guts of playing? I see Pepe in Portugal playing at 41. Cristiano Ronaldo is at 39. He's playing like he's 25. So you never know. Let's wait and see on how that will follow. 23 minutes past the top of the hour. My name is Edgar Matthew Karuhanga. It's always a privilege and pleasure giving you these insights. It's not that we are the best of them all, but it's a chance and opportunity that happens to them all. That's what the Bible says. So let's go for a short commercial break. When we come back, there is Mr. Ojik Peter. I told you he's a gentleman living with albinism, what in Luganda people call Namagoya, and he's going to be telling us his story on how this has been, what does it mean to live with albinism, and of course you'll be learning a thing or two from the insights that he will share. Vesje Ben is on camera. Arnold Mokose Anthony is in productions, and of course we are here to serve you. This is Digitalk TV. Let's go for a short commercial break, and we'll be right back.